Hello everyone, I'm here today with a flip-through video. I am showing you the first part of my album for Las Vegas from December of 2025. So I'm using a Life Crafted album, so really the layouts in here cannot be larger than 4x8, maybe a little bit wider, but not by much if they're going to fit. And my divider here, I'm still working on the back half. You can tell I kind of have some stuff sticking out here, so I've loaded all my memorabilia and my photos. I just haven't finished that back half yet, but you get to see the first half, so let's go. This is my opening page. I did do a process video for that, and I used a bunch of stickers from Creative Memories. They had a line, I forget the name of it now, but it was very tropical themed, and I thought, well, that would work. So I went with that. So all of these that you see here are from the same line, which is awesome. These, obviously, I just had in my stash. I needed something small. They matched, so I used those, stuck on a label, hand wrote the date instead of doing a roller stamp like I do sometimes, and that one was done. For this one, I definitely wanted to do journaling for why I took the trip, because I did not have this planned at all. It was somewhat last minute. I had a flight voucher I needed to use, and this was what worked the best. So that's how I ended up in Vegas. Not intentional by any means, but I'm okay with it. It worked out to be okay. So here I just wrote about that. Most of this was sort of built in for me. I did some stamping. I added these little 3D stickers I got from the dollar store of all places. So super cheap embellishment, and voila. And then here, I decided I had a number set that was in a Christmas digital set that I got. And I don't use numbers a lot. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to use this number set this time. So I have a 16, 17, and 18 that I printed out and cut to use for each of the days. So I flew in on the 16th pretty early in the morning. I left Minneapolis, and then I had a layover in Denver. So that's actually what you're seeing here. And then Denver to Vegas. On the way back, I did not have a layover at all. It was a direct flight, which was awesome. But on the way there, a little layover in Denver, not so bad. And then I took some pictures of some Christmas decorations that I saw in the airport. So this was going towards my gate, almost to my gate. So this wasn't even like in the main area. This was out on the concourse among the gates. And I thought, kind of fun. Not something you see all the time. And then here was when we took off going to Vegas. So we did have to cross the mountains and got to see some beautiful landscape out the window. Here I just had this card on hand. It worked out to just do that, stick a little puffy sticker on there and not have to do much else. So that was good. And I normally pick an aisle seat. I have back issues, so it's better for me to be on the aisle if I need to get up and stand if I'm having pain. But here I knew the flight was so short and it's beautiful coming in over the desert. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a window seat on this flight on Southwest. This was one of my DIY travel embellishments. I've been trying to use those more because I still have quite a few left from what I made a while ago. There's one of them. My first stop after getting out of the airport was a bookstore. One of my goals this time is I really didn't want to put a lot of money into this economy for political reasons. That's my personal choice. So I thought I'm going to focus on things that benefit the community, that are about arts and literature and those kinds of things. I am someone who cares a lot about those things. And if I can also support an independent business in the community, I will do that wholeheartedly. So I went to the Writer's Block. Very cool place. If you've gone to Vegas but never left the Strip area, you're missing out. I've done downtown before. I've done the Neon Museum, which is a little beyond that even. This is the first time where I've really felt like I was out in the city doing things that locals would do or experiencing what they get on a daily basis kind of a thing. Not so much the Strip. So this was stop number one. It had this beautiful tile on the inside, which I loved. And they also have a little cafe in there. So I got coffee as well, which is always good when I have an early morning flight. So here you can see part of the way the books were set up, and I just used some reading / book embellishments that I have. I have quite a bit of that because I am a big reader. Just some more things around the store. I got to use this little embellishment, which I love, also from a digital file. it's like a Christmas tree the way it's set up. And I thought, well, that's perfect because they did have part of the store decorated for Christmas. So you can see some of that here. I also had this as a digital element. I was able to print that and use it. And then I have a flip out here. And look at their fun Christmas decorations. So I just tried to match everything as best I could. So a lot of red and kind of mustardy yellow gold here because that's what I was seeing. And then nice little chipboard star to top it off. So after that, in this area, this is where most of the wedding chapels are, like within a 6 to 7 block radius around here. So I went and saw a bunch. I didn't put all of them in here. It would have taken up way too many layouts, but I chose a couple. So I loved this sign on there because it's a take on the classic sign, but it actually just says weddings. And then I bought a set of digital files that were all images that looked like this of Vegas. So this is one of the stratosphere, or the Strat, I think they call it now for short. I actually stayed there my first ever time in Vegas. So that tells you it was a while ago. But I could see it from here too. And so I thought that was interesting to just put that in there. And then this one is my first Canva layout for this album. There are multiple in here. And I'm going to be honest, I did that to save space. Because otherwise I would have had so many more layouts. And I can't do that. This thing is already at its capacity. So here is the Bliss Chapel. So I just put all those together, made it one layout, did a little journaling, puffy sticker, that's enough. Then I went on to Love Story, and I thought that was cute with all the bright pink, so I wanted to put that in there. There were, I think, 4 other chapels that I saw. Like there's a Graceland one. I can't remember all the names, but it was just too many. So I picked the ones I liked the best. So I did this one and then the Love Story. And then on my way back, I took the bus. I used public transit as much as possible. So I took the bus back, and then I had to walk from there to my hotel, and I got to pass the Smelly Cat karaoke bar. So that was fun to see that. Didn't know such a thing existed. So to just happenstance, find it, walk by it, great. So I just talked a little bit about that experience as well. So here's my hotel. I chose to stay at Ellis Island this time. This is off the strip. It's on Koval, which I think is like 2 blocks off the main strip. And I did it because, again, I wanted to put as little money into the economy as possible. So I chose something that was cheap. It was actually quite a nice place. Totally fine. The thing is, though, if you're going to do a lot of things on the strip, I don't know that this is the best place to stay. Because let me tell you, by the time I got back at the end of the night, having to do that extra walking, everything in Vegas is closer than it looks. Further than it looks. You think it's close and it's not. Oh my God. By the time I got back to my hotel, like my feet and back were so sore. It was so much walking. I walked nearly 10 miles on day 2, I believe. I would just stay on a more central hotel, I think, just to avoid some of that again, because it was a lot. Here you can see the high roller. I didn't intend to do this, but I got a Groupon offer for it. And so I thought, all right, if I can get it like as cheaply as possible, I will do it. And so I think I paid $11. I don't know what the normal is. I think it's at least twice that. And I did the one where you had to board before 5:30 because then it gets way more expensive in the evening. And I'm like, no, I'm not willing to pay that. It's just a big old Ferris wheel. So I did the earlier one and I think I paid $11. And you know what? It was worth it for that. It was fun. So here I am waiting in line for it. It's part of the Link. So if you know where that is in Vegas, you go into the Link and the promenade area. And so then I just used some ticket embellishments. I did do a process video of this. I used some ticket embellishments since you had to have a ticket to board, but I wanted to showcase the art that was in the waiting area. There was hardly anybody in there. Actually, when we boarded, there were only 2 other people in my pod on there. So it really gave me time to get up close, look at a lot of this stuff because people weren't in the way. And I love that. Less crowded is definitely better. So here I am up in my pod on the high roller, and it was actually a little bit after 4 by the time I got there, stood in line, waited for it to go around, everybody get off, and then for reload. So by the time I took this picture, it was probably closer to 4:30. You can kind of see this was December, so the sun went down very early, but you can see it was already golden hour at that time. But I loved getting this view out of my pod. The windows are very, very wide, so you really get great views all the way around. So if you're somebody who's a photographer and you're looking for an experience like that, this might be a really good option for you. And again, I used one of the digital files that came in that set I bought because there was a high roller in there. So I thought, why not use it? So just some more pictures from up in the high roller. I loved this one, being able to get the next pod over from where I was. And then because it was golden hour, I was able to bring in some yellow to some of that blue. And I love the way that that turned out. A little bit more on the high roller. Again, I used only probably half of the pictures that I took. I got some really good stuff up there, but I wanted to keep it under control. So here I just picked a scrap that I had. It's not quite a perfect match. It matches better with the sky here, but whatever, I'm fine with it. So I was also able to use a large word that I have. I have a set of these and I've been hanging on to them forever because they're so big. They're hard to use when I am a smaller size scrapper. So yay that I got to use one. And then I did just a quick selfie up there, which was pretty easy since there were only two other people in my pod. They kind of stayed to one side. I was on the other a lot of the time. And then like we just switched sides so we could get equal views. It worked out very well. Once I was done at the high roller, I walked along the promenade a little bit. I have done that before. I did it the last time I was in Vegas. And it's fun, to see how different it looks with holiday decorations because it's tropical there. Here's a palm tree, but then here's your, pine Christmas tree. So little strange juxtaposition there, but I like it. And they use non-traditional colors here. So that's a perfect opportunity for me to pull out some other colors to use. And I love that I got to use these here. Just a couple more shots along the promenade because it was sunset time. The lights were coming on, and so it just looked prettier, I think. And then I loved this long shot looking down the rest of the promenade, so I wanted to showcase that. And then I happened to have this piece of ephemera about the weather, and it was not frightful. It was delightful. And then after that, I went to the flamingo, which I had done this before. I went into the flamingo habitat with my friend the last time I was there. And I thought, that was during the day. I'll go at night. Well, you know what? Going at night's kind of lame, just so you know. Don't do it. I highly recommend going when it's still light out because it was actually poorly lit, in my opinion. I felt like I couldn't really see anything. I was able to pick out two flamingos that were kind of, in there wandering around. That is it. It was really hard to see the waterfall. It was hard to see most things, so I don't recommend that. So I thought, I'll focus on getting the neon, the bright pink that was lit up instead to show that it's the flamingo with some soft green. And then I had things to match. Luckily, I used more of the stickers that were from the opening page. I used some more here just to bring in that tropical feel. This is the tree that's kind of at the back of the habitat when you come out. I had seen this before when I was there last time, and there were big presents that they had all around it at that time. This time it was just the tree and that's it. So I don't know if it's the economy and they were scaling back, or this is just what they chose to do this year. I don't know. But to highlight it, I just used one big circular piece of ephemera, and then I fussy cut some digital green poinsettias that I had, and so I stuck those behind it. And then when I left there, Caesars was on the way. I was going to the Bellagio because I wanted to do the fountains at night to get that experience again because I always enjoy that when I'm in Vegas. So I stopped through Caesar's Palace first. They had it lit up and it had a very purple cast to it, which I enjoyed. So I was able to use a purple embellishment there. But the inside was totally different. Very much done up for the holiday. And I have to say, if I went in here the last time I was there, because it was Christmas time the last time I went to, I don't remember going to Caesars. Or if I did, they must not have had a lot because I did not scrap a lot about it. It was sort of just a pass-through thing. But look at this. It was gorgeous this year. I loved what they did. Very traditional colors, but I still loved it. And it made it easy to decorate the pages because I just really kept to the red and green. And then it's kind of hard to see here, but I used a gold glitter pen to outline the star here. And then I filled in the star here with that just to bring in a little bit of sparkle. Then I was on my way out of Caesars, and this was the Tiffany store, hence the colors. I loved this very modern art looking tree that they had. And again, I was able to pull out some non-traditional colors from the files I had. So that really worked out perfectly. All I added was this piece of just a paper, piece of ephemera, but it had gold little sparkles on it. So I thought that fit this perfectly. And then again, on my way to the Bellagio, you have to pass this. This is actually on the side. You can see the Paris there. And the Paris is where I stayed last time. It's always fun to see that. And I decided to glam it up a bit. So I did a page with sequins. So I just tried to match all the different colors that were in there. So different shades of blue, some gold tones, and then I added some transparent or translucent stars in there. So hopefully, let me lift this up. Hopefully you can see. Yes, there you can see them. So I really loved that mix. All the other ones came as a mix already. All I did was add those stars. The rest came that way, and super grateful because it didn't take a lot of work for me. On this side, you can see another one of those digital files from that set. All I did was I added the stamping that says Las Vegas. And then the inside, I just added this little sticker here and filled in the date. Pretty simple. So now we're on to day 2. I started my morning going back to the Bellagio to actually go inside because I didn't go inside the night before. I wanted to go inside and see their holiday decorations because theirs are always the best. The Bellagio does it up super well, and generally speaking, most of the other places I've been out there, they just don't match it. So here's the Paris though, and then I wanted to include that because I also had one that showcased the Paris, so why not use it? And I kept this very simple as well, just some word strips. I had this little Eiffel Tower cut out. I thought, well, why not use it? I'm not planning to go to Paris anytime soon, so might as well use it. Just stuck some little things there, and then there's my number for the day. It's now the 17th. This is once I was inside the Bellagio, so this is kind of the entry area, the foyer, if you will, before you go into the main part of the conservatory area. And you can see, like, beautiful. Again, though, lots of traditional colors, green, red, gold, and then some white to offset it. So that's part of why I wanted this background, is to get some of that white in there. And I kept a lot of white space here as well. And then here, it worked to do my 4x4s with a white border because it helped bring that out. And I love the way these look together. And here's more from inside that exhibit. And I chose to focus on the green here. Again, very red and green, very traditional, but I was able to find some things that brought out a lot of those colors, plus still a little bit of gold there, a kind of mustardy yellow gold color. I think that works well, but these were so busy that really all I had to do was slap on these phrases. These embellishments or ephemera pieces were so big, that was enough. And yet another one still from inside there, but I loved the large nutcracker guys. They were so cool, and the soldiers. I wanted to get those in there. And then train, like, that was one of the big themes for this, was having a locomotive in there. And then the large ornament, which I liked. And again, the colors all worked together, so I wanted to feature them. And then here, I just kind of layered some embellishments. This was a scrap piece of paper I had. I layered this and then added the little poinsettia sticker, and I did one stamping phrase, and that was good. When I was done there, I chose to actually get on the bus, and I went all the way to the south end of the strip, basically as far south as you can go, because it was still relatively early in the morning. I started early, and I wanted to be able to get the famous Las Vegas sign before a crap ton of people were there. There were still some people there. You're going to see that. You can see, like, behind me there. But it wasn't horrible by any means. And I just had never done the sign before. I ran out of time every time, so didn't really do it. So I went down there, did a selfie, and you know what? It literally took 5 minutes. Got off the bus. It's kind of in a thing in the middle of the street. So crossed into that, got in there, positioned, took the photo, walked across the street, and then I was choosing to walk back. I think I walked maybe like 6 blocks before I picked up the bus again because I wanted to see this. This is outside. I think it's the Harley Davidson. I wanted to get this in my photos because I had seen on the map that there was some kind of art piece or something there. So totally rewarded to go and see that. So I got that as well. Nice view of Mandalay Bay there from out front. And I just love that you could see the palm trees like that. Minimal embellishments here too. And then I went to another chapel. I think it's the Little Chapel of the West, it's called, right after this, basically I went there and then I caught the bus out front of that. So it really wasn't a huge walk, but lovely to see sort of this perspective of the strip looking from the south to the north. And then that's where I'm going to stop today. So that's the first half basically, and then I will have the back half at another time. But hope you enjoyed seeing this part of Vegas, and I hope you come back for part 2. Thanks for watching.